Afghanistan and the United States have signed an agreement to end the unpopular practice of night raids by American soldiers. US forces have been conducting night raids on the homes of suspected insurgents, but the practice has been fueling resentment among Afghan families. Under the new deal, only Afghan forces will be allowed to search and inspect private homes. John Stewart reports.
Let's go!
Night raids have been a key strategy for coalition forces in Afghanistan. Troops descend without warning on homes, capturing insurgents and concealed stockpiles of weapons. The night operations have produced results for the coalition, but at a price. The raids are deeply resented by local communities, who say that women are exposed to the eyes of strangers and families humiliated. US and Afghan leaders have now signed an agreement. Only Afghan forces will be allowed to search private homes.
The people of Afghanistan can be very proud to know that their special operations forces have taken lead for the conduct of counter-terrorist operations in Afghanistan.
Under the new agreement, night raids will have to be approved by an Afghan judge, and Afghan authorities will take control of prisoners.
From today onwards, only the Afghan forces are allowed to search and inspect Afghan private homes in the framework of special operations.
Afghan President Hamid Karzai has repeatedly called on coalition forces to stop night raids, saying they are disrespectful and increase the risk of civilian casualties. The new deal could be a boost for President Karzai's credibility at home, and some analysts predict it may help the US maintain a positive political presence after the withdrawal of combat troops by 2014. Former Australian Army General Jim Molan commanded troops in Iraq and has first-hand experience of dealing with Islamic cultural issues while fighting a war.
Cultural sensitivities for a foreign army in any country are very, very difficult to manage, and cultural sensitivities are very, very important, and we've got to trust the leaders who are over there on the spot in Afghanistan as they trade off one thing against another.
But the retired general says that handing night raids to Afghan troops could be a major compromise, and insurgents have exploited cultural issues in the past.
On any number of occasions, we've been asked to respect mosques, ambulances, hospitals, children and women, schools and towns and ancient monuments for the reason that they are culturally sensitive, for the reasons that in accordance with the laws of armed conflict we should respect them. But on every occasion, either immediately or after a brief pause, our adversaries have then abused exactly the same facilities that they've asked us to respect. For example, they've hidden weapons in there, they've hidden people in there, they've planned operations, they've conducted rest and recreation in there, they've made factories out of these places, they've used them as torture centres. We ought to be deeply sceptical.
Jim Molan says that Australian troops have taken part in the raids in Afghanistan, and that role may now be over. And he's worried about the Afghan army's ability to conduct night raids.
It's their culture, they should understand it. My fear is that they can be intimidated out of doing them, they can be bribed out of doing them, or they're just not going to be interested in doing them.
If the night raids do become less effective, military strategists warn that insurgents can become more active at night, moving between safe houses, some with stockpiles of weapons. But the US government insists the new arrangement is a major step towards Afghan security forces taking control of their country. John Stewart, Late Line.